What's up, everyone? Welcome to Bluegrass State of Mind, the show where three college roommates talk life, sports, and all the ridiculous things that happen in an apartment we like to refer to as Room 302. We're bringing you stories, hot takes, and the kind of late-night debates that probably should have stayed in the group chat.
So grab your headphones, sit back, and get ready for a wild ride through our past college life, sports, and everything in between. Let's get into it. This is Bluegrass State of Mind.
Well, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Bluegrass State of Mind. And happy Thanksgiving, guys. Wonderful time of the year. Everybody gets to eat a lot of good food, be surrounded by great company with your family and friends, whatever it is, Friendsgiving, Thanksgiving. But yeah, just a great overall time of the year. One thing I do want to go ahead and tell the viewers is our apologies. I don't know if it's my apologies only. I don't know, but there is a little bit of a lag that has been around the past 2 episodes, I believe. I think it's the app that we're using. And it usually happens right there towards the middle to the end portion of our episodes. Usually pretty good at the beginning. So apologize. We're going to try to figure that out, but hopefully that's not an issue tonight. Getting into just Kentucky stuff right away. First off, we're going to start off with Kentucky, who hosted Loyola, Maryland. And that was a blowout, score of 88-46. In that game, the Cats scored 50 points in the first half, outscoring Loyola 50-20 at halftime. Some of the highlights, individual highlights of that game: Cam Williams had 13 points, 9 rebounds. His plus-minus was plus 40. Colin Chandler also added 13 points. He hit hit 3 of Kentucky's 10 threes. Malachi Moreno, 10 points in his first start, who did get the start over Brandon Garrison. And, it's just an overall balanced attack for Kentucky. They had 5 players who scored in double figures. The UK forced 15 turnovers and then had 11 steals and then scored 24 points off of turnovers. Fellas, that's expected, right? We're expected to come out, especially coming off, all the heat from the Michigan State game, whether it be from the play itself, the media, Mark Pope's comments after the Louisville game, after the Michigan State game. It's just, a lot of different things. But what was y'all's thoughts on that? I actually did not. We was on our way to Atlanta, Georgia, so I listened to it. I wasn't able to watch it. But Colton, what was some of your thoughts? We don't have to get too deep into this because this was just one of those games like we're expected to win by that much.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're going to do that. It's hard to tell, actually. But what you don't want to see is like a sluggish, right? And you didn't see them do that. You wanted to see some energy, and they had that. You wanted to see them play with that type of stuff. You wanted to see some shots go down. Some different guys make leaps as far as improvement goes. Yeah, it's hard to tell because you get a lot of easier baskets than you would against those good teams. You get a lot of more open shots, but still, you got to make them. And in those type of games, you just look for little improvements, energy, different things like that, camaraderie, teammates and stuff. And to me, they did good about that. It's hard to really get a lot into this game outside of, you can talk about like Cam Williams getting a start, Moreno getting a start. I was on here last talking about, like, me and Chad talked about after Michigan State game how we really feel like Cam Williams and Yelovich, which he didn't play still as much, but he still did okay. But still, like, we felt like those two were guys that were like, they have like these NBA bodies, like the NBA type skill sets, like a 6'9", 6'10", can shoot it, decently athletic, make passes, stuff like that. And we wanted to see those guys play more. He did get Cam Williams in there. Okay, so maybe the next step is, so it shows me that he's at least trying, right, and maybe seeing that maybe that is an improvement we can make.
Mason, quick thoughts on the game?
Yeah, no, a couple of things. Like Colton said, I thought Cam Williams looked good. He got the start, and we've been saying all along, just get him in there. And like Colton said, he's a big athletic kid. He looked good defensively. Had several steals with jumping passing lanes. So I think getting him some more minutes moving forward is important. Especially if he can start knocking down some shots. I know he hasn't shot it great so far this season, but he's obviously capable of shooting the ball well. Several of the players on the team have said, he's one of the best shooters. It's going to come, just give it some time. Shots will start falling. And then another thing, Malachi Moreno, everybody's talking about, all these fantastic freshmen this year. And I'm not saying he's that, he's not flashy. He doesn't do a lot of big things, but I mean, he's been really solid for us. And, I think he's averaging 10 and 6 or something with limited minutes playing behind Brandon Garrison. And glad that Pope started him over Garrison. I think he's got to be our starter until Quaintance comes back. We'll see how he matches up, with some of these better opponents. We got Gonzaga coming up, got UNC coming up, so it'll be interesting to see, how he matches up against some of those teams moving forward. But overall, good game coming out. Put them away early and did what they needed to do.
Yeah. So for tonight, this episode's dropping tomorrow, but for tonight, Wednesday, November is it 20? Yeah, November 26th. We are 25th. We are playing Tennessee Tech. Tennessee Tech's coming in tonight to Rupp Arena with a record of 3-3. They have a guy who is Mekhi Cameron, averaging 14.2 points per game. Tennessee Tech as a team is averaging 81 points. Kentucky comes into the meeting 4-2 overall, 87.5 points per game. And we're allowing 64.7 points per game on defense. Right now, the spread is minus 37.5 for Kentucky. Guys, I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer, but I cannot help but sit here and I'm watching all these holiday tournaments that are starting right now. And you're seeing the Houstons, the Tennessees, the St. John's, the Auburns, the what was another team that played the other night? Gonzaga, Kansas, right? And when I'm sitting here watching all these games, I know we've texted about it, but I want the viewers to hear it as well. I'm just not sitting here thinking that Kentucky can compete with these teams. And it's like every high level team that I'm looking at. And I don't know if that's because of everything we've experienced lately where we've lost by 20 or we've been down by 20 the past two teams that we've actually played that's good. And I don't know if it's that or if it's just I'm holding a grudge. But like tonight's game against Tennessee Tech, I'm not excited for it. It's just like the Loyola Maryland game. You're not going to get much of it. I'm ready to see us go against our next good opponent. And until we do that, it's like I don't really know how to judge this team. Like I know Oweh could come out tonight and score 32 points. That don't mean anything to me, really, in the grand scheme of things, because what it comes down to is against these high-level teams that we're going to be seeing on a nightly basis, maybe not even necessarily when it's SEC play, but it could be that because SEC's down a little bit. However, though, I don't like this feeling. I have like a pit in my stomach. Do y'all have that same feeling? Like it's just like I'm sitting here watching these teams and I'm like, we can't compete with that.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to be that Debbie Downer, but I think we got to talk about it just a little bit, because I don't think we're the only UK fans sitting here watching these games and thinking that. Colton, before I get to you, I want to hear Mason's thoughts on that. Mason, what do you have that same pit, or is it just me right now? Or am I overthinking it? How are you feeling about this?
Yeah, I do have that same feeling. But part of me is still a little bit optimistic. I think the biggest thing that stood out to me is how physical a lot of these teams are. We were supposed to go out and be a lot more physical, a lot more athletic, and it just feels like we haven't shown that against Michigan State or Louisville so far this season. And I think that's the biggest thing I've seen. These teams are supposed to be so well-rounded. A lot of these teams I'm watching, like Gonzaga, they're so well-rounded. They don't really have Gonzaga's a little bit different than some of these other teams because some of these other teams have some studs or some freshmen, that are really good. But like watching that Gonzaga and Bama game, like they're kind of made up, kind of like our team, right? Like they don't have a stud. They got a lot of older guys, transfers.
They can shoot the ball a lot better, though. I feel like as a team.
Yeah, and I still feel like we have some shooters haven't really been knocking down shots yet, but like Gonzaga is so physical and they look so good defensively against Bama, and I think that's the biggest thing that I've noticed so far is like a lot of Gonzaga's, the way that they're going to win, they're so good defensively that a lot of times those quick shots, long rebounds, they're getting out in transition, and that's helping their offense too. And then they have a big man down low, and Ike, however you say it. I feel like he's been in college for 10 years, but
right.
that man,
he has been, it seems like.
But I mean that man's a stud too, you know. So yes, I feel like, you know, part of me thinks that we can't compete with some of these teams, but I also think like completely healthy. We haven't seen JQ yet. I know we keep saying that, but I think he's going to be a difference. And then, you know, Lowe being the point guard and how differently this offense runs. So with this team right now that we have, absolutely not. We can't compete with any of these teams. But I'm still a little bit optimistic that if we can get both these guys back, there's a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. But I got to see all that first.
So, Colton, just taking that into consideration, taking yourself, you're out of a Kentucky fan standpoint. You've watched Kentucky only against the two biggest games that they've had in Louisville and Michigan State, which was nationally televised. And then you're sitting here watching all these other teams. I mean, what is your honest opinion about if it just trying to take yourself out of the Kentucky fandom? Is it night and day, or is it closer than what? Is it just us being critical?
This is what I'll say. After watching, like I watched that Houston Tennessee game, and was seeing how our offense has gotten so stagnant at times against teams that are nowhere near the defense that those two teams were. I kept picturing ourselves out there on the court, and I was like, man, because like both those teams were getting stagnant against each other because they were so good defensively, and I was like, what would we do right now? But I think the biggest thing I've took away so far after watching some of these teams is I just feel like we're so limited to where like we would have to play like a perfect game to compete those, right? Like I'm sitting here thinking, like, what would we have to do? Like I sit there and watch that Houston and Tennessee game, and I saw they're so good defensively, but they still have one or two guys, right? We saw that Fleming, that freshman for Houston, all of a sudden take over there at the end. And then you saw Tennessee had the transfer in Gillespie, and they have a Mint, the 5-star freshman. And I just thought to myself, like, when things were going bad, like both offenses got stagnant, those guys just kind of took over. And I thought, like, who's their guy? Like, where we going? And I don't know. I watch their team, and I'm like I don't feel like those teams play their perfect basketball. Neither one of them did, but they were still playing really good basketball. And I think to myself, I feel like in that type of game, we were going to have to play a perfect game of basketball just to compete. And so it just leaves such a little room for error. And that's what scares me because no one's going to ever play perfect. You're going to have some bad shooting nights. Can you still win when you shoot the ball bad? You know, you're going to have nights where the other team lights it up. Can you score enough points to beat them, to outscore? You know how like Florida last year, we came to Rupp Arena. You know, we gave up 98 points, but we scored, 102? Like it, like those type of games, can you do that? Find different ways to win. We said that last year, I think. We said we don't have different ways to win, and I look at this team and I'm like, how can we win when something's not clicking? And I don't know that we can right now.
To add on to that point, and I don't, like I said, I don't want us. I mean, we can end it here after this if Mason wants to end it after I get done. But to add on to that point, I think, you know, being able to find different ways to win is something very important for this team in itself. But talking about how you're alluding to, like, so you got to play that perfect game. When you're playing Kentucky, teams have a tendency to play that perfect game. And it's because it's Kentucky written around. Like, it don't matter. I truly do not think, like, it could be a long time. We would have to have years of bad play before it was just like, oh, we're going to play Kentucky. No, there's always a chip on the shoulder when a team plays Kentucky, whether it's at Rupp Arena or it's on the road or a neutral side. You saw in Michigan State, they don't hit 13 threes in 3 games, and then they hit, like, it does not matter. The
It feels
level
like
of play is always maxed out because you are playing the University of Kentucky. Hint, hint, Caleb, that's also another reason as to why we are the standard. But good job. Your boys had a really good win tonight. Caleb Holland is who I'm talking to with Tennessee. But we're always going to get everybody's best shot. So that leaves even smaller room for we can't, smaller room for error. Mason, I want you to finish out and then we'll get on to the next segment.
No, I think that's a great point because, you know, looking back now, like Louisville and Michigan State, those are probably 2 of the best games they're going to play all season. You know, like going back and
Absolutely.
just thinking about it. And that's what leaves me a little bit of, you know, a little bit of hope there as well, right? Like they played their best games. Louisville, you know, we clawed back into it. They still beat us by 8. Michigan State, they came out, they played lights out, shot it lights out. So it gives me a little bit of hope. But another thing, like I was just looking back through the box score of the Tennessee and Houston game, and I'm looking here. Jacoby Gillespie played 38 minutes and had 22 points. They had another starter. Akpara played 31 minutes. Another starter, Boswell, played 32 minutes. You go to Houston, Cenac played 34 minutes. Uzan played 35. Flemings played 32. When's the last time we've seen, I look back at the Louisville box score, Aberdeen ended up playing 31 and he dropped 26 that game. Like, sometimes I wish Pope would just tighten those rotations up and just see what it does for us, right? Like, play your top 6 or 7 guys. And I feel like he did that a little bit in Louisville, but he was still, throwing guys in there. I really just want to see him come out and just throw our top 6 or 7. Like, I understand that he wants to be deep and get guys in there, but let's throw our top 6 or 7 out there, a couple games in a row, and let's let them, because I feel like there's been gaps in the game, right? Like 4 to 8 minute gaps in the game. These teams go on runs. We say all the time, basketball is a game of runs. And I feel like a lot of that's when he's throwing these subs in and these different lineups. These announcers keep talking about we've had the most lineups, like they were talking the other day, this lineup's played the least amount of minutes out of, however many combined lineups we've had in there, 100 and something or whatever it is. And it's just like, how can you build any chemistry? How can you build any flow offensively if you're constantly, throwing guys in and out and doing different things? So I really just want to see him focus back in and try to play those top 6 or 7 guys. BG doesn't need to be playing more than 10 minutes right now, in my opinion. And if guys are having better nights, let them stay in there. I just wish he would do that a little bit more, because you see some of these better teams right now that are doing that, and they're being successful that way.
I think that's a really good point, and maybe we can feed off that maybe in one of our next episodes, because that's something to really think about. Because as a player, it's hard to get in the flow if you're constantly being pulled in and out and with different people, and just it's hard to get a flow. But we were talking previously about, which is going to segue into our next segment here, is talking about we're seeing all these holiday tournaments. So the question that we've proposed and going to talk about is Kentucky ever going to be in a holiday tournament again? Me and Colton, I think we were on the phone 2 days ago, Colton, maybe we were talking a little bit about that, and we was talking about like, hey, when was the last time Kentucky, and the last time that we could think of it, Mason, if you have something else, is we was in the Maui tournament, John Walls, that year, that first year.
Played UConn in it,
Are
right?
we missing anything? Yes, but are we missing anything? Is there any more holiday tournaments that we have been in that we're missing?
No.
Right, and I mean, if you even want to, and I don't really consider the Champions Classic a holiday tournament. That's just kind of like the opening big games of the year, So, why is it good for Kentucky to be in holiday tournaments, and maybe why have they not been in any holiday tournaments?
Oh gosh, so I hadn't saw that. I saw this for the first time on Twitter or X, whatever. But someone had asked about like why. Oh, did y'all see where they're having that new tournament or whatever? They're gonna have 32 teams in it or whatever it is. Like the players. It's going to be across over like 3 weeks. Yeah, it's going to be like across 3 weeks. It's this tournament that like Houston and Tennessee's in right now, except it's going to be expanded to 32.
Like first week will be 8
teams,
across the next week will be another 8, and then I think the winners, move on to that final week or something.
Yeah, it's something like that. But that's their plan. And like someone asked Pope about it, but then someone, I think Matt Jones or maybe even someone else tweeted about how, unfortunately, we can't afford to give up home games because we make so much money off of home games. To play in these tournaments. Apparently, like we have to, like, even though it might be Tennessee Tech tomorrow, we make so much money off of playing these home games compared to going and playing a tournament that it's like, I guess we don't give it up. So that was a big reason.
If that's the case, then how do you blame anybody, or who do you blame though? That's a hard one right there.
To me, right. If that's the case,
especially
then
with
I guess it just comes down to the athletics department as a whole, right? Like it's got to be probably from the president to all of them, right?
But then do you fault the president for that? Like then I'm not going to be like, why are we? If it brings in that, I mean, I
Right.
don't.
In
That would
this
be
new age of
hard,
NIL, yeah. I mean, if you can get more money, then I
right?
mean,
Right. So, I mean, it's hard to, because here's the thing: as much as Kentucky fans travel, if Kentucky goes and plays in Maui, I mean, how many Kentucky fans are really there, right? I mean,
yeah,
I mean, that's gym's so small anyhow compared to playing in Rupp, which is actually one of the biggest gyms in college basketball. Rupp Arena is hosts
yep.
a lot more people than several of than most colleges do. So, I mean, that was one thing.
That's
Anyhow,
interesting.
let's just say that wasn't a point. Yes, I would think Pope would be the type of guy that was like, I mean, you saw St. John, Rick Pitino's here, Bill Self's here, right? Kevin Sampson. I mean, Rick Barnes, like all these old school coaches are here. And to me, Pope would be like ideally like wanting this type of smoke, like
Yeah.
getting into these tournaments where they might have to play back to back days. I wish they would. That would be awesome. I would love to see, because the SEC tournament's always so good. Now, granted, it ain't been great to us the last 5, 6, 7 years, but there ain't nothing like those times when Kentucky plays on a Thursday or Friday and wins 3 straight days. Right, you get to watch Kentucky basketball 3 straight days, and you went.
And
I
Kentucky
mean,
fans just take
I would
over
love for it to
Nashville.
happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would love for it to happen, but according to that, that's the reason why. And that, I mean, if it is, I don't know what you really do about it.
Mason, you was going to say something. What was you going to mention?
Yeah, and I saw the exact same thing on X, people talking about that. I started thinking a little bit like, what can you do to try to compensate for some of that revenue? And I don't know how much of the revenue, like if Rupp Arena hosts something, comes back to the university itself. But I was just thinking, like, strategically, if you're gonna go play in these tournaments, schedule some big concerts in there or something, for the weeks while we're out of there. Like there's plenty of concerts that are held there in Rupp Arena, and different things. And I know that's not going to be equivalent to what it is, but to help, shrink that gap a little bit for what you're losing there. And again, I don't know all the logistics and things on that, but I mean, I agree. In the age of NIL right now, you're trying to get as much money as you can to be able to provide for your program. And there's just, like you said, Colton, these Tennessee Tech games, like, yes, it's Tennessee Tech, but you got to understand a lot of people from across the state come to games like these, right? Like, there's a lot of people who maybe can't afford to come to some of these bigger games that we have at home. And so you get a lot of out of town people, and they're coming in first time there, buying merchandise, different things like that. So go ahead.
Well, I mean, I can tell you right now, I've got season tickets, and I
Yeah.
mean they're at the very top. They're center, but they're not far from the very top. And like Tennessee Tech game itself, what would you think if you went to? What would you think a very top ticket of a Tennessee Tech versus I don't a Tennessee even? What do you think a very top ticket in that arena would be? Probably for Tennessee.
$35.
Yeah, 20, 30 bucks.
No, I would say $15 maybe.
Yeah.
Right, these are like 50 and like 50 or 60. Like we sold it for like $60.
Yep.
Like in this Tennessee Tech, right? We're talking like that's on the cheapest tickets we sell, and we're at the very top, right? Like we're just like, but it's Tennessee Tech, and people want to go, and so I mean, I get it.
I think of it in a different aspect, along those same lines, but I think holiday tournaments, what the potential it has to do for a team is I think back, to not even though I played college ball, we didn't really do a lot of holiday tournaments because we was still playing individual games and didn't get into that. But I think of, my high school career and just you two as well. When you go to holiday tournaments, the best part about that was being able to spend time with the team, stay at the hotel, go out to eat. Like that was like the team bonding aspect of it. Even though like you're spending time with each other at practices and at other games and traveling with each other, the vibe is just a little different.
Yep.
So you take that going to the trip of a Maui or going to where was that Nike tournament that was
Probably
played for years?
Vegas.
I think it was in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Like those kind of trips that just helps build that chemistry. And that's something I feel like this team could use a lot of right now. We talk about, and then I know Pope has went on to say like we don't have a chemistry issue, and I know some of the team have come out and said stuff like that. Well, they're blowing smoke. They are just you can not clearly see it on the court, that there is no chemistry whatsoever. They might have some chemistry off the court, but on the court, it's a problem. So, like, just little things like that. I mean, and like Mason, like me and you, halfway through our freshman year, we didn't really talk that much. But once we did, like chemistry, it just like, and that wasn't on the court stuff. That was outside
Yeah.
the court. And we built a relationship. And then you build that trust. And on the court, I was about the only one who was prepared to catch a 90-mile-an-hour fastball right to my face. And like,
Absolutely.
that's the kind of stuff that you can't teach on the court a lot of times. And that's what we need right now. So I think that it just builds that chemistry by going to these holiday tournaments in which we have not participated in. So that's my little spill on that. Moving forward, though, we talked a little bit about, or Mason did, how important it is to get JQ and Jalen Lowe back. Update on that. Where are we at this point into the season with our starting point guard out and our starting, so-called what we would predict our starting center being out? I really don't have any updates myself. I tried look. I didn't see anything. I didn't look very hard. Colton, did you find any updates? If you did, share.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Mason saw the stuff. I mean, I'm just keeping up with it on Twitter. For the
Yep.
most part, Low I think is doing through some walkthrough type drills, nothing contact, which I guess it's a positive sign considering they were talking about potentially being done. So I don't know if surgery is still on the table. I think at this point, I feel like they would have already made that decision personally. Like if he needed surgery, I felt like they just would have went ahead and did it. So now it makes me think that maybe he's going to try to make a comeback. If he's going through like walkthrough drills, non-contact. Now I don't know how far that makes him away. I could see, I feel like at this point it would probably be a push from maybe like SEC play. Say, okay, we're going to give him December, ramp him up, and then SEC play, in January. Like, hopefully he's ready. They say JQ, I don't really know what they said he was doing 2-on-2 drills. Now he's doing 3-on-3 drills. Someone was like, by the time he gets back, we'll be able to do 11-on-11 or something like
saw that.
Like, I was like, well, okay. So who knows how much, but it does sound like he's coming back. I think to me, I think he's going to be back in December. I just don't know when it's going to be. One of these, we've got 4 big games coming up in St. John's, North Carolina, Gonzaga, and Indiana. All right, those are 4 big games that we've got coming up, and I think St. John's is December 20th. To me, that would be the goal. I think is the St. John's December 20th game in Atlanta. And so we'll see. I mean, I think, but it sounds like they are both progressing to where maybe we can have them back by at least SEC play.
Mason, is that pretty much what you had?
Yep, pretty much the exact same thing I've heard. Jalen Lowe going through like shooting drills, non-contact stuff, and then JQ. It's kind of funny to me. Like he's doing contact 2-on-2, 3-on-3. I mean, why is he not? If he's doing contact stuff, why not just get him in on 5-on-5? Like I
What's
don't know,
5-on-5? Like that's what.
yeah, what's 4 more bodies out there? Like, what's the difference right now? What are we doing?
Hey, guys, calm down. It's the analytics.
Yeah,
well,
fantastic.
Right. No, but
all right, well, let's take a break from sports.
Go ahead.
Or sorry, I thought you was done. Finish up.
No, I'm done. I'm done. Go ahead.
Okay, I didn't think you were gonna say anything else. All right, but let's take a break from sports. Let's get into our Thanksgiving special. Then after that, we'll get into some Kentucky football. So Thanksgiving is here. So we got to do a Thanksgiving special. We got to talk about some Thanksgiving stuff. So first off, what we're going to hit off is we're going to hit off with our favorite Thanksgiving tradition. Mason, favorite Thanksgiving tradition. Don't get into the dish yet. That will be next. So don't say,
Okay.
oh, it's all about that. But favorite Thanksgiving tradition.
Okay. I'd say my favorite Thanksgiving tradition is, after everybody eats their meal, all the guys, we kind of gather around the living room, kick back in the recliners on the couch, go watch some football. All the women and kids are in there. You'll be looking around, half of us will be in there asleep, and then we'll all kind of wake back up and get to talking about football and just messing around. So yeah, I mean I look forward to that every year. It's like, man, get my belly full, go in here, sit down, talk sports, hang out with the guys, watch football.
I feel like a Thanksgiving nap just hits different. I mean,
Oh,
it's just
for
like,
sure.
I don't know if that's how you all feel, but like, it's just like,
Yeah.
you look, like you said it perfect. You look around and like everybody is just sitting there in a food coma. Like it's like, it's going to happen. And it could be a 5-minute nap, but it feels like an eternity nap. I don't know if it's because you got the ladies in the separate room taking care of the kids. That's just from my perspective, and just like, okay, here's my relaxation time, and then you're out.
That's right.
But no, I agree. That's a good one. Colton, what's your favorite Thanksgiving tradition?
Yeah, I mean, that probably would have been. I mean, well, obviously, watching football, especially this year's lineup. Hey, listen,
Yeah.
Cowboys and Chiefs, and Lions and Packers.
Packers.
I mean, and then Burrow comes back. Bengals versus
and
Ravens
Yep.
with a Burrow and Chase back. I mean, I'm just saying, like, this is a great 3-game lineup for Thanksgiving. But yeah, actually, we go out and we actually go play football as long as the weather's. We'll play a little backyard football, two-hand
I like that.
touch. I mean, and it's not for long because the older we get, the more out of shape we are. And it just
Colton's out
don't
there
happen
like
as much.
mossing his nephews.
Yeah, we're
gets
just.
it, then does like a Gronk spike. Like, let's go.
I mean, there's no mercy on the football field. It is what it is. They're going to learn today. They're going to learn today. I mean, that's just how it is. Like, there's no.
What they hit you with, Colton? Bruh.
Yeah, it's everything, bruh. I went over to their house the night. And I was just tossing football with Eli, and he dropped like 5, and I mean, I was just giving him. I mean, just straight butterfingers. I mean, just going at him, just not letting him have. I mean, I was just like, "What are you doing?" Like, I don't mess around. Like, I don't care. It was even almost pitch. It was like pitch dark, and I was throwing lasers. But it is what it is. You better catch that thing.
Just remember, Colton, here about 7, 8 years when we're pushing our 40s, payback's coming. Payback's coming.
Yeah. I'm not letting that boy ever win.
So my favorite Thanksgiving tradition, it's kind of tough. I'm going to go with 2 that I guess I don't know necessarily if it'd be a tradition because it doesn't happen anymore, but like in my younger years growing up, something I can just close my eyes and just remember is, one, when I would go to my grandparents' house, we always had to have the talk. And by what I mean on the talk was, you better behave, you better not be running around going crazy. Like, it was every year. Like, that was the tradition. Like, every year on the way to my grandparents' house, because there's a lot of kids and like I was a wild child, and it was just something my mom and dad always was like, you better behave here. And I was like, okay. And then the second one goes right along with that, is a tradition every year is, y'all know me, like I'm an instigator. Like I like to like really like get people going. And
No.
I had a cousin who, like, every year I would like trick into, like, there was this treadmill that we were not allowed to get on and like mess with it. And like every year I would find a way to get him on that treadmill, and he would like run and go crazy and like break it. Like every year. Like, I don't know how he would break it, but something would go wrong every year. And I know it's a weird Thanksgiving tradition, but like I just remember all about it, like every year. So so I did behave, but I just got another guy to go on that treadmill to get in trouble. I didn't want to ruin it with the food because I do have another one, but I don't want to. I just want to do something different. Might be a weird tradition. Again, don't do that till this day, but it's just something I remember growing up that was pretty cool. I always remember that. So, yeah, let's go to the Thanksgiving dish now. I'll start that one off. My favorite Thanksgiving dish, this was a tough one for me, but I'm going to go with dressing. Man, with gravy and dressing, like, the older I get, the better it gets, I feel like. Like, as a kid growing up, I was not crazy about it, but that crunch, like, it can't be too soft. It has to have a little crunch in there for me. But that with the dressing and the gravy, oh, can't beat it. That's my go-to. Mason, what's your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
See, I'm not a dressing fan. I'll eat a little bit of it just because it's Thanksgiving, but just a little bit on my plate. Um, I'd say, and this may be a little bit of a hot take. And I don't know, y'all may not have it at your Thanksgiving, but we always have it at ours. Broccoli casserole, something that I don't get a whole lot.
Oh man,
Grandma's
dang it!
grandma's broccoli casserole. Oh man, it's so good. Look forward to it every year. And then my other one obviously is the mac and cheese. Like that's a great one too that I just load my plate up with.
I know he's gonna
So
say, I don't
I
like
know, I
people
know.
saying mac and cheese for Thanksgiving because you can get mac and cheese all the time. Like that's
Yeah,
not a
but
good
it's
Thanksgiving.
not
Like
like
I
your
like it. Don't
box
get me
mac
wrong,
and
I love
cheese
it,
though.
but it's not. I agree, but it's not like a separation factor. Like how often can you go to a restaurant and say, "All right, I want some dressing"? Broccoli casserole, that's a good one. But the mac and cheese, like that's for people who don't venture out in like anything. Colton, why are you clapping your hands? What's going on?
I'm just cheering on both of you. I'm just cheering
No,
on both.
Colton's like
Nah, I like all these foods. They're
the
fantastic.
rolls.
That's, that's fantastic. I mean, they're fantastic. But no, I was actually going to say broccoli and cheese casserole. Like I was actually going to say that, but I'm actually going to mix it up because my other one that I was on the borderline is I make sweet potato casserole.
I was my second one.
For sure, I'm big on sweet potato casserole.
Yeah.
It is mine. I don't consider it a dessert, so I'm putting it in the side.
It's not a dessert at all. I don't think. I think it's a side. There's a lot of
Anyway,
people that you know of think it's a
I,
dessert.
no, but I mean, by the time you taste the sweet potatoes and you put some, I mean, people put the like little marshmallows on it and some other things. I mean,
Marshmallows, little
Yeah.
pecan.
it's hard to say it's not a dessert, but I
I
mean,
count it as a side dish.
I do too. I'm going to sweet potato casserole.
Speaking of rolls, that's another memory that just popped up. I remember when I went to Claire, our side of the family's first Thanksgiving in Paducah. Her little cousins, literally, I was like next in line, and there was like probably like 2 or 3 rows left. All of her cousins come in for their third row and grab all of them, and I didn't get a row. And I was like, "Duh." I was so mad. I
Nope.
was so
You're
mad.
better. You're better than me. They'd have got
Oh,
pushed out on
there,
the floor and I'd have got snatched. Yeah. Get
yeah.
out here.
Just sitting here though, thinking about like Chance. What would have Chance done? Because Chance, I mean, what does he eat at Thanksgiving?
Rose and more rose.
Mashed potatoes. Does he like mashed potatoes?
I hope the viewers they know who Chance is. He's one of our roommates in college, but he's actually spanned out a little bit and got
Oh yeah,
a lot. But all he used to eat is chicken and Rose. He would go to Mexican and get that. But all right, last Thanksgiving special. Is turkey overrated? Colton, is
you know,
turkey overrated?
overall, I'm going to say yes. I think turkey is overrated overall. Yes, and now the reason I say that is because I think it has to be cooked a certain way to not be overrated. Like
Yeah.
the reason that's why I say that is because anything that I feel like you have to cook a certain way for it to be pretty good, I think is overrated because there's so many different meats that you could have it in multiple ways or cooked in different ways and they'd be really good. I do not feel that way about turkey. Like just regular turkey that's out there on the dish cold, not for it. Now you get me like a smoked turkey with a little like seasoning and different things on it.
Oh,
That's a
juicy. Sitting
totally
there
different
all
story,
day.
right? But like, and like even like turkey sandwich meat, like I like a turkey sandwich. Like I'm not against it. Like I'll eat a turkey sandwich, but am I sitting there like, oh, I mean, that's the
Can't wait for a
best.
turkey
No.
sandwich.
So
So,
yeah,
given a
I'm
choice between turkey and ham, are you reaching for turkey or ham? Not just
oh
taking out
ham.
the smoke. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm a
ham.
ham guy too.
I'm a ham
Mason,
guy
what are
for
you?
sure. See, that's the one that I think
Yeah.
you can have multiple ways and it's good. Like a baked ham or just even cold. Like I think ham can be a lot better than
Yep.
turkey.
Yep.
So I'm
It's just so
overrated.
dry.
This may be
The
a
coldness. I agree 100% with you, Mason. What you got?
yeah. It may be a hot take here. I think that turkey is overrated, but I do look forward to Thanksgiving turkey, like Colton said. If it's cooked right, I look forward to it. It's always usually cooked right, at your family Thanksgiving. They prepare it as kind of the main focal point. So I think at Thanksgiving it's fine, but overall it's overrated. And then I was gonna say this may be a hot take, but I actually look forward more to like Christmas meals with the ham. You know, that's what we always do at Christmas. I don't know if y'all do the same, but like at Christmas, that's our, like main meat is ham. I look forward to the Christmas meal more than I do Thanksgiving, honestly. But that may be a hot take, but I do.
Mm. No, it's not a hot take at all because we don't do the ham, but we do a Christmas breakfast. And my
We do a Christmas
grandparents'
breakfast,
Christmas
yeah.
breakfast, and
Yeah.
like my grandparents
Actually,
randomly called me like a month ago and was like, "Hey, it's a Friday night," and she was like, "I'm making breakfast. You want to come?" And there's no way I could have come. It was like last minute, and like, well, they live an hour and a half away, but they know that like the breakfast is like it is. Oh, it's just so good. But go ahead, Colton. You was saying you agree.
oh yeah, well, we used to do, like, sometimes we'll mix it up. We'll either do a breakfast some years, or if we do lunch, we end up doing like prime rib just for Christmas. Like the only time of year we'll eat like prime rib as a family or a steak as a family, like something like that, is on Christmas. So I look for it. Yeah, so I'm obviously going to take that over turkey. Come on, like, is
Yeah.
there not a reason
Right.
you have turkey only once a year? We have ham multiple
Exactly.
times. Like we'll
Yeah.
have ham different times throughout the year, but we don't ever have
Yep.
just turkey.
Good
Yeah.
I
point.
mean,
Great point.
Hey, and turkey is actually very dangerous. Like
yeah.
like you see that all the time. People getting burnt. It is very dangerous. So you gotta know what you're doing. But man, we gotta stop talking about food. I'm already getting hungry. I didn't even have dinner tonight, so I'm starving. But yeah, I can't eat because I'm gonna just eat so much this week. I gotta save it up, you know. But let's get into our last Kentucky sports for tonight. So Kentucky lays a egg against the Vanderbilt Commodores
Mm.
this past Saturday. The hype of that game from a Kentucky standpoint was actually it was exciting again. You know, people were looking forward to that. And then they come out and lay the egg. Vanderbilt final score is 45, Vanderbilt, Kentucky 17. Kentucky's record falls to 5-6 overall, 2-6 in SEC play. Total offense, Kentucky had 315 yards to Vanderbilt's 604 yards. Passing, Kentucky had 284 yards to Vanderbilt's 539 yards. The rushing, Kentucky 31 yards on 19 carries. Vanderbilt had 65 yards on 25 carries. And then the yards per play was Kentucky 4.6 to Vanderbilt's 8.8. Kentucky had 3 turnovers, all 3 interceptions to Vanderbilt's 1. They pretty much doubled up on every statistical category that I just listed. Getting to the player spotlight, I cannot stand this dude, but man, he showed out. Diego Pavia was 33 for 39 on passing, 484 yards, 5 passing touchdowns, plus a rushing touchdown. He set a school single game passing record for Vanderbilt. Trey, yeah, like, come on, man.
I
Trey
mean,
Richardson,
I was way off. I said make him beat us with his arm, and that's what the heck he did.
yeah. Well, Trey Richardson for Vanderbilt's wide receiver had 6 receptions for 159 yards, 3 touchdowns. Cutter Boley on the Kentucky side was 26 for 44 for 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, but also threw 2 interceptions. And then Seth McGowan was a UK team leading rusher with only just 27 yards on 10 carries. It is to note that Cutter Boley did go out with an injury, and then we got to see our boy Calzada come in and throw a pick right away after a good looking ball. We were like, hey, that was actually a good ball. And then we show me the
Pick.
money. Where's your money at?
Where
Catch your money.
where's the
Catch your money.
money? Throwing that money right into the defender's hands.
That's right. Colton, did you watch most of this game?
Yeah, till it got out of hand.
Right.
Yeah.
I saw it get all the way to 45. 38. I stopped
You
at
saw
30.
pretty much the whole way.
Yeah, pretty much the whole game.
38-3, and
So
he was
this is
like,
why
"Yeah,
I
I'm turning
said,
this off."
yeah, this is why I said I really wish that the game would have been at home, because I think the stuff was there, but it was senior day for them, so that hurt Kentucky, right? Because you're talking about a Pavia as a senior, and that senior class that's all of a sudden had a really good back-to-back years, and that built it up, right? Instead of overlooking this game, looking at Tennessee next week, they were like, "Oh, well, the senior day, we're all in on these seniors." So they were not only like they were hyped for Kentucky, and I just think it was going to go one way or the other. We were going to catch them off guard, and we had played good the last couple games. We were kind of due to kind of lay an egg for a little bit, and it just all that kind of happened. And you were kind of hoping it wouldn't. You kind of hope it went the opposite way, but you found out real early it was not going to go this way.
Mason, what does this game do for Mark Stoops? We are like spiraling again. Here we are again, because now again, Mark Stoops is back on the chopping block, it seems like. And we got to take in consideration, Mark Stoops is under contract. The buyout for Mark Stoops this year, from my understanding, is roughly $38 million. Okay? $38 million. Number one, where are we going to, if we do give him that, we're losing $38 million. Or how are we going to come up with $38 million?
That's why we can't play in holiday tournaments.
Yeah. Two, who are we going to get? So, what's your take on that? It's a tough spot, because I feel like either side's a good argument. It's just, I guess the coming to terms with either side is a good argument.
Yeah. I mean, here's my thing. I think he's bought himself some grace a little bit, here towards the end of the season. Seat was definitely real hot. Like Holden said, this game, I mean, Vanderbilt, they're really good this year. Senior day, they're obviously hyped up, and I think we've been playing better. So I don't think this is a real reflection of what we've seen here the last, let's just say second half of the season. But like you said, with everything, all the factors considered, the buyout, all the big openings that are in college football right now, and here's another thing that kind of drives me crazy a little bit about Stoops is, did y'all see his comments basically, talking about I have a limited pool to pull from money wise to be able to get recruits, and it's like, dude, everybody knows that, right? Like, we're going to put a lot of our money into basketball. Stop trying to put out there, make excuses for yourself. Just go out there and just get some dudes. We just want to be competitive, right? Like, we're not asking you to go out here and land these 5 stars and have one of the best recruiting classes in the SEC. Go build a team who's going to play hard, compete every week. And that's just one of the things that drives me crazy. It's like, he definitely feels the pressure, but at the same time, it's like he's trying to give himself a little bit of a cushion, right? Like, I don't have the same resources these other coaches have, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, we know that. We get that. Just go out there, be competitive. And the biggest thing that I've seen here over the last half of the season, we've talked about it, is, it looks like he's opened up a little bit as far as play calling and let Cutter Boley. And I think that's the biggest thing in my eyes here. It's like, we finally found a quarterback. So I think that's something that we can build on. And if we can keep, our defense being strong, being consistent, get a couple of guys to surround Boley, I think we can have a better season next year, even if Mark Stoops is our coach. So I think right now the best option is just leave him in there, another year or two. Let's see if he can gradually get a little bit better, turn it around a little bit. And if he keeps going in the same direction, keeps winning 1 or 2 games in the SEC after the next year, maybe 2, then buyout comes down a little bit. We can go out there and try to find somebody else once there's not all these huge openings out there.
Yeah. Colton, 3 things. 1, Cutter Boley is coming back. We can confirm.
Big time.
2, do you think Mark Stoops has entered the era that John Calipari entered, where he has lost the fan base? 3, does Mark Stoops want to still coach at Kentucky next year, you think? What's your thoughts on those?
So, number one, I think the relationship that Boley and Stoops has is going to be the determining factor of whether or not he comes back. Like, I really think if they think like Boley's success this year was contributed to like Stoops being a head coach, and because like the quarterback coach is kind of like a together thing. Like, if you see someone developing, that's how they kind of do it. So, with him coming back and saying he's coming back, is he saying he's coming back because he's expecting Stoops to be the head coach? Or do you feel like, hey, we've got to get a offensive guy, we got to get a new guy in here because we've got the quarterback, now we got to like really take you to the next level. So I think that is a big impact. As far as like Stoops wanting to coach, I would think he wants to. I think he wants to be in the SEC. I mean, I think I think he lost
But
his
does he
chance
want
to
to be at
go.
Kentucky?
The thing is, like, I don't think you can go bigger now. Like, that's the thing. I think he had his little small chance there to go bigger when we had a few good years, and now he can only go smaller. So I don't think it's like, right, like, that's the thing. So, like, you might as well just be a Kentucky, because you cannot tell me. I know he keeps complaining, which I'm like you, Mason. It makes him mad. But you cannot tell me. I would almost guarantee you our NIL money is as much or more than Vanderbilt's football. Like, I would guarantee you he's getting as much or more as in football as Vanderbilt. So, like, if Vanderbilt can form a team that might make the college football playoff, so can you. Like, you can do that. And overall, I mean, I just think that I think he's going to end up thing unless they get absolutely killed by Louisville. I don't think you can go in and get beat by 30 to Louisville and keep your job. I just don't. You got killed by them last year. You just got killed by a Vanderbilt team who we used to be like, that was one of our automatic wins for the season.
Yep.
2 years
if
back
you go
to back.
right, and if you get killed to Louisville, a Louisville team that's spiraling, like they've lost multiple
Yes.
games in a row now. Like
Yep.
they're losing football recruits left and right. Like they've had like 5 or 6 decommitments this week that were like good recruits. Like, I don't know what's going on in Louisville. Like, if you go in and you get killed, I'm not saying you need to win the game. I would hope so. But if you go and get killed to Louisville, I think he's gone. I think you just have to maybe bring in a guy that you're not planning on keeping more than a year or two, but you got to do something else. Like, it just is.
One more quick thought. Can Diego Pavi actually win the Heisman? Do we actually think he has a shot of winning the Heisman? Short and sweet.
No.
Mason?
No.
No,
Okay.
I think it's either the Big Ten quarterbacks. It's Julian Sand or Mendoza. Like, they're both going to be undefeated, most likely going into the Big Ten championship.
It has a lot to do with your
numbers.
team record, and Vandy's lost too. Yeah.
I just think
All right, we're coming up on the 52-minute mark. So we got about 8 minutes left. So let's get into our pick'ems, and then we will call it a night and an episode. Colton, lead us into our pick'ems.
All right. So we got a lot of good games, rivalry week. So we could have chose several games. We just kind of highlighted the top ones. But number one,
hold on. Before you get into the games, though, I do want to say, and y'all can talk real quick, the amount of fights that we had last year in these rivalry games, do you all expect that to happen again this year? Because it was insane. The North Carolina State, Florida State, Michigan, Ohio State. I mean, there was like 4 or 5. I mean, they were just everywhere, and I was loving it. But do you all expect there to be a little bit more secured, or like just to make sure that things are a little bit calmer? Because it's not the fans really; it was the players in all those scenarios. What are y'all's expectations going into this week? Because I'm here for it. I hope they do it, but I just don't know if that's going to be there again.
I think the Ohio State Michigan game would be the one to watch. Like, I think that's the one where, like, obviously it's probably the biggest rivalry to me in sports. Like, as far as college sports goes, like, that's just the game. I mean, they absolutely cannot stand, like, they hate each other. They just absolutely hate each other. But they're also the closest match. A lot of these other rivalry games don't have a whole lot of meaning to them this week. Like, they're not a lot of good matchups. Like, they just aren't. So I don't know how they would. I mean, they probably would lose a little bit on that.
I've seen something on X about the Texas A&M Texas rivalry there, and how last year Texas, like, they waited until all the Texas A&M players were off the field, planted the flag there in the middle of Texas A&M's field. So I feel like this is a big game for both teams here, really. Going into the last game of the season, kind of a lot riding for Texas A&M especially. But I could see that one getting a little bit chippy, especially if Texas jumps out to a decent lead. I could see that one getting a little bit chippy there.
Yeah. So I will see, but no. So we'll go ahead and get into that. We'll go ahead and do the pick 'em for that game, because I think that's going to be a really good game. So we got Texas
Yep.
A&M playing at Texas. Texas A&M undefeated, obviously. Ranked third in the nation right now behind Indiana and Ohio State. Playing at Texas, who is currently 8-3, I believe, got 3 losses. Who y'all take? I saw you hold up the horns. You taking Texas, Mason?
I am. I
With
feel
them
like,
horns.
I
All
saw some
right.
stats. I saw some stats earlier this week. Arch has been playing a lot better since his, little slow start. He's been playing a lot better here in the second half of the season, and I think he's finally starting to find his groove a little bit and settle in. And he's starting to become a pretty good quarterback. He's obviously, I think he's had the talent. It was just a lot, for him starting out. They've had some guys hurt throughout the year. They're getting healthy again. So I'm rolling with Texas at home here. I think it's a big game. Good way for them to close out the season here. And like I said, I know they lost to Georgia, well, not last week, but the week before, I think, or whenever it was. But I'm riding with Texas here.
What about you, DG?
Yeah, Texas A&M, they're just a juggernaut right now. I'm going Texas A&M. They're 11-0. They're 7-0 in the conference. They have proven over and over, like, was it last week that they were playing and they were down like 27 at halftime? Who was it they were playing?
2 weeks ago.
30-3
It was
South
30,
Carolina.
30.
Yes.
Yep.
And for them to and for them to come back and win the way they are proving of like where they had failed multiple times towards the end of the season. Like, we're not those dogs that we so-called thought we were, or everybody thought we were. So I'm taking the Aggies. I just think the team looks good. So give me Texas A&M.
I'm taking the horns. I'm taking Texas. I just think that they're going to throw a wrench in the college football playoff because I think there's going to be an argument for a 3-loss Texas team with 2 of their losses coming to at Ohio State and at Georgia. And they're going to have wins over Oklahoma and Texas A&M. We're going to be 2 teams that are in the college football playoff. I think it's just, there's going to be an argument there whether or not they get in with that win. I just think I could just see it. It's going to cause something, there's going to be a stir up, and so I'm giving the horns. All right, so we got 2 Texas, 1 Texas A&M. The next game we have Georgia and Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech coming off a bad loss to Pittsburgh. Mason called that one. He chose Pittsburgh last week. Georgia Tech with Haynes King. We thought this was a game that went into, I want to say, like 3 or 4 overtimes last year at Georgia Tech. I think it's at Georgia this year. Georgia Tech would. I mean, they've been a good team all season. Georgia has played very well here in the last like 4 or 5 weeks. Like, they've looked like the old Georgias. Like, they're not just like winning these games from behind. Like, they're dominating from start to finish. I'm going to take the Dogs at home. That's just my consensus. But rivalry games, this is one of those games that I can see being tight because it's a rivalry game.
It says it's at Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Go ahead, man.
In Atlanta.
Oh,
now,
okay.
now I'm
I still would think a majority. Yeah. But go ahead. Who you taking? You taking Dogs?
Yeah, I'm rolling with the Dogs here. Like you said, they've been looking a lot better. Pretty solid here the last few weeks. Georgia Tech is coming off a tough loss, so I think it's going to be a good game. But I think Georgia's just a better team overall, better coached. So I think they pull it out.
What about you, DG?
I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. Go Dogs.
Go
I
Dogs.
think that, I think that Kirby Smart. He's that Tom Brady, the Bill Belichick. Like, he's a good coach, a great coach. You don't want to see him towards the end of the season, especially when his team is playing well. So yeah, give me the Dogs.
All right. Probably the biggest game of the weekend. Ohio State travels to Michigan. All right, the biggest rivalry game in college sports. They hate each other. Michigan planted the flag on Ohio State last year. I mean, this is like a true hatred. Like, I've never seen anything like it. Obviously, Karen's massive Ohio State fans. Like, I can't even mention the word Michigan. She hates the color Navy. Like, I've never, like, I mean, it's bad. Like, how we'll be like, Louisville's back. Like, it's good to, no. Like, they hope that Michigan never wins a game. Like, I mean, it's, I've never seen anything like it. with that being said, they canceled COVID year. They didn't play. Michigan's won 4 in a row. And I mean, they're the kind of this is the kind of rivalry that if they are undefeated and lose this game, they considered it a failed season. I mean, it is. Her dad sent in a group message. All right, the real season starts this week. Like they're undefeated currently, and this is the only thing they've thought about the whole year. The only thing. I'm gonna go with Ohio State because I don't want it. I'm going with Ohio State. I know better nonsense. I do think they're very good. Very good. I mean, I know that this game has been under there, but I'm going with Ohio State. I think same. Now, granted, Jeremiah Smith, Cardinal Tate didn't play last week. They were hurt. I really think they were just resting for this game. They didn't want to push it for this game, but I think they're still a powerhouse. Their defense is unreal under Matt Patricia. Give me the Buckeyes. Go ahead, Mace.
Yeah, I'm rocking Ohio State as well. Don't get me wrong. I think Michigan's they're solid. I don't think they're great. I don't know that their quarterback has it yet. Underwood. I think he's going to be a good quarterback, but I think this Ohio State defense is going to get to him. He's going to make mistakes, and I honestly don't think it's going to be close. I know it's a rivalry game, so anything can happen, but I don't think it's going to be close. I think it's Ohio State by 10 plus. I don't even know what the spread is, but I'm saying Ohio State by 10 plus.
I think it's 9.5 Ohio State, so that's pretty good. Go ahead, DG.
Yeah, Mason's reconnecting for me. I don't know if he is for you.
Yeah,
it may just be my part. But give me Michigan. And let me tell you why real quick. And I'm going to say this, and I hope Karen's family is listening to this podcast. You, not specifically when I say you all, I'm talking to all Ohio State fans. The reason why you all have a tendency to lose these games is because you make it such a big deal. Had your team lost 2 or 3 times, it's not as big of a deal. And you come out and you probably wax them. But because this is all that your season matters. I mean, my goodness, you all won the national championship last year, and it was a failed season because you lost to your rival. Get out of here. I would lose to Louisville every year if we could win the national championship in college basketball. Yeah. That's just it's just nonsense. Yeah. It's non-talk. What in the world? And that's for all Ohio State fans. That don't logically make sense to me. So with that being said, yes, you are making these players play tighter because all the pressure, and they're going on the road, which makes it even harder. You've lost 4 years in a row. The pressure is already there. So why are you adding more pressure? So give me Michigan. Give me Michigan. Let's go.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, we lost them. Oh, Mason came back. There he is. Just in time for the Kentucky final one. UK, Louisville. I'm going to get, man, it's hard after coming out. Give me the Cats. I'm hoping things are spiraling there in Louisville. Vince Morrow left Kentucky to go to Louisville. They've had 4 or 5 decommitments this week. Yeah, Louisville spiraling. Kentucky has shown signs of life up until last week. Bowley is going to play. This is going to be the Mark Stoops. It's going to save him. I can just tell you right now, it's going to save him. He's going to win this game, and he's coming back. And we'll see how next year goes. But this is what's going to happen. So give me the Cats. DG.
Oh, give me the Cats, baby. Oh, yeah. Stoops. I don't know, man. I think that Louisville, like you said, they are right there with us, as in what's going on. We were just winning literally 3 or 4 weeks ago, and now we're losing. Welcome, younger brothers. Welcome to the party. But yeah, I mean, I think the Cats can pick up a good road win here. Going in that game, a lot of people may not be expecting us to win, even though Louisville is in a bad state. But yeah, let's make up for the basketball loss. So yeah, give me the Cats. Cats by 90.
Go ahead, mate.
I just have one thing to say here. Oh, Cats.
Let's go. Oh, but wait. I mean, let's go. Before we leave, shout out the UK volleyball team just won the SEC championship. They're the number one
yeah,
seed.
they were playing.
They were down 2-0 to Texas and just won the final 3 sets to win the SEC championship. What a comeback!
Let's
The volleyball team won the national
Let's go
title
Cats.
3 or 4 years ago. So I mean, I'm all in volleyball. Volleyball goats. We're going to give a
Forget
shout
basketball
out.
and
Go
football.
Cats.
Let's go, baby.
Let's
You know
go.
what? Everybody out there listening, have a great Thanksgiving. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Bluegrass State of Mind. Eat a lot of food. Eat all you can except for maybe that broccoli casserole. I don't know. Are we still high on that, Mason? Are we sure we want them to eat that?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, as always, go Cats. Enjoy the
Go
holidays.
Cats.
Go Cats.
Happy Thanksgiving.
That's a wrap for this episode of Bluegrass State of Mind. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Also, be on the lookout for our social media pages and be sure to follow them. We've got plenty more stories, insights, and conversations coming your way. And if you really loved it, make sure to share it with a friend. From the hills to the hollers, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep that Kentucky spirit strong.